So, Derry, just for those who don't know, just give us a little bit of your kind of background, particularly the past few years.
Yeah, well, that's a big introduction to live up to, isn't it? So yeah, this all started for me in COVID. So 2020, stuck at home with my two young children. I had a transport business before that I lost because of COVID. I used to work in France and Spain, and I got stuck here. So it was trying to figure out things to do with the kids, and we had a camping trip in the garden, and that's where it all spiraled from. We camped that first night. The second day, we decided to build a deck to camp on, and it was like a project that got out of hand. So by the end of the first lockdown, I'd created this whole, well, what I now know to be a glamping pod, and an outdoor area in my garden. Now, it was just for me and the kids to spend our time, but a company, Lad Bible, did a story on me on what a dad had built in lockdown for his kids. And it was just a great news piece in that when we came out of COVID, when everybody was building home bars and gyms and that sort of stuff. And it's just a photo of me and my son and my daughter in front of this pod, and it's what I'd done for them. But inevitably, the power of social media, that went viral. That got about 10 million views. And because my name's quite unusual, people messaged me on my own social media saying, can I book it for a holiday? Now, at the time, I'm thinking, who wants to come and stay in my garden in Skem on their holiday? And it just seemed insane. But actually, the more that I got to kind of grips with it, and this is where it comes into what the industry is now. You know, people are looking for non-traditional tourist destinations. You know, what's happened since COVID is within this market, it's changed a lot. But from there, I realized there was obviously a gap for what I'd been producing. So we then went on to gain planning permission for a 4-acre woodland that we've got there, and started building more. So we've gone from one all the way up to where we are now. We're the most viewed, most booked, most followed site in the UK. We've got 1.3 million followers across our social media audience. We're the most viewed hashtag of glamping in the world, and we're based in Skelmersdale. And we've been fully booked since we've had 100% occupancy for the past, well, nearly 5 years now. And our current waiting list is around 2.5 years to get in. So it's been phenomenal. I've had to go from knowing absolutely nothing about the tourism and leisure and hospitality sector to running a business. And it's been a phenomenal ride up until, earlier this year, in case nobody saw it. I was on Dragon's Den. Although, yes, I'm going to sound braggy, it's gone down as one of the best pitches on Dragon's Den. All the dragons offered me all the money for what I'd asked. And I even made Sarah Davies cry because she was so happy for me to get investment, even though I turned her down. So yeah, it's been a phenomenal journey up to this point, and it's always an exciting day.
And as well as Dragon's Den, you've benefited from a Rosebud loan as well. When it comes to both of those things, actually, Dragon's Den and the Rosebud money, how important was the stuff around that as well? The advice, the mentorship, the connections that you got through those?
Yeah. So yeah, Rosebud was the first thing actually. So that was a couple of years before Dragon's Den has been aired, and at the time it was just a meeting I went to at the West Lancs Investment Centre. I had no intention of looking for funding because I assumed it wasn't something I could do. I thought I was a small business in Lancashire. Nobody wants to invest in me. It's just I have to do it on my own. And it was from a chance meeting there with Kasim and chatting to him, and I told him everything about the business, and he thought I was joking. He thought, there's no way this is real. I'm like, yeah, I'm just literally over the other field, just behind where the investment centre is. So he came round and we went through everything with access to finance. And that's where he then introduced me to Rosebud. And at the time, Jonathan, came down and seen me because he was the same. He's like, no way, you can't have bookings like that. It doesn't work. And they seen what I was doing. And actually, at that point, we was just reinvesting in the business. It was trying to build that business organically. Because it all started, I started with the first unit. My total investment in the business was £6,000, and that was all we had in. And the Rosebud investment that came in took us to that next level to be able to complete the next 5 that we got for the planning permission. But each stage of that journey, so from Rosebud and the kind of process that we went through with that, really helped me then with Dragon's Den. Because when we came to doing Dragon's Den, it's just in theory, although it's a TV show, it's a bigger investment. So that was really helpful and enlightening when it came to doing that. And then from Dragon's Den, it was then the next stage when we've gone on to get funding for further projects, which are another level again. So each one of these times when we've gone through that process, it's not just been about receiving that capital. So it's that investment. It's actually, the advice, the direction, and also doing a deep dive into your business, into the day-to-day running of your business, which you know, as an entrepreneur, you're always busy. I mean, so you've got lots of hats that you're wearing all the time. So this really focuses you on what's important, what you need to do, and as well, inevitably, what you're kind of lacking in and where you need support with.
And, you know, obviously, Skelmersdale's a fantastic holiday destination. We all know that. And, you know, everybody wants to go and stay in a Wendy house for a week. That aside, what do you think has been the real key to your success? What is the kind of the thing that has really struck a chord with people and has, you know, ensured that you're booked up for the next 14,000 years?
So when I always talk about my business, what I say is we're a social media business that has a glamping site. It's not the other way around. You know, COVID did change the industry massively. Social media has obviously been the biggest part to the success of this business, but also it's not necessarily treating it as a standard business how it's been done before. You know, what happened before is you had it's like the cookie cutter scenario of the same thing replicated over and over again. The other good example I like to use with our business is we're an experience provider, not an accommodation provider. So although we do have accommodation, it's just there to enhance the experience that you're having. So at Skelmersdale, it's all about spending time at night in the woodland. You know, in general, we can't do that at home. We can create the most amazing suites and the most stunning locations, but if all you're going to do is sit on a bed and watch Netflix, you can do that at home, and I guarantee your bed's going to be way comfier, because it always is, it's yours. But most people, unless you're a little bit strange, don't spend many evenings in the woods in the dark, you know, hiding there. Even for me, before I had the glamping site, I wouldn't go down the woods at night in the dark, let alone other people. But now you're actually getting people to be able to, you're getting people to be able to spend that time outdoors. And as soon as you get them to do something that's maybe a little bit out of the comfort zone, maybe it's something that they can't do normally, that's when people are really engaging with what we're doing. That's when people are sharing content, they're tagging things, that they're really creating an experience that they want to come back to over and over again. Now at Skelmersdale, we do that with the woodland. But then at other locations, you can do that with lots of different things. It is just really about spending time outdoors. You know, when I came to the glamping industry, which is glamorous camping, I related it back to what I did as a kid when I went camping with my mum and dad. And I think this is what's been lost in the industry now, is when I went camping with my mum and dad and when we was kids, we'd go and set up these tents. Me and my brother had this little 2-man thing. It was tiny. My mum and dad had a nice big one. And we'd walk away from it and we'd go and play in the woods or swim in a river or go to the park or whatever it was we did. What we didn't do is sit in a tent for 2 days. So when it came to glamping, it always baffled me why people focused on the accommodation rather than what we really are, which is, as I said, an experience provider.
Do you think as well, do you think some of the success is down to kind of that element of your personality where you're just up for stuff. You just say yes to things where, you know, it's kind of, you talked about, going that meeting at the investment centre. You just went kind of with, you know, without a particular agenda. Lad Bible get in touch. Yeah, come down and see us. You know, Dragon's Den, apply for it. Do you think that kind of, that attitude gets you places?
It's why I'm here today, to be fair. Just get an email and say, yeah, I'll come down. But it is, you know what, I do. So actually on Dragon's Den, everybody tried to talk me out of it. Everybody thought it was a stupid idea because before Dragon's Den, we were already the most booked site in the country. You go on Dragon's Den, they make you look like an idiot. It can have a detriment to your business. But I'm definitely a yes man. I like saying yes to stuff, and it tests me. You know, if it's something that I've not done, like this, you know, this is, you know, if I'd looked a year ago, would I sit here and speak in front of all these people? You know, the kind of great and good from Lancashire, not a chance. You know, it's like proper imposter syndrome. But the more I do stuff, the more people get engaged. And I think, again, when we go back to Lancashire, I was at a round table with a few people last week. And one thing that came out about Lancashire was the authenticity and the genuine passion that entrepreneurs have in Lancashire. And that is ultimately what sells it on social media. You know, people don't want to spend the money with just a big faceless corporation anymore. If I can add benefit to somebody's stay by knowing their names, they know about my kids, my daughter, my family, all that sort of stuff, people engage with anything that you have to offer then and really genuinely have a passion about your business and will shout about it from the treetops. Because I can do that all day long. But actually, the most powerful content that comes is user-generated content from our audience who want to shout about what they can do here. And that can be, you know, people coming to Skem and just spending a few days there, and they absolutely love it, and they will be the most passionate cheerleaders for you.
When you reel off those stats of kind of where you're at now, do you think you'd have even half of that if it wasn't for Rosebud?
So it all culminated at the exact. It all comes down to timing. If we hadn't have done that and we hadn't have the funding to do the next 5 units, when I went on Dragon's Den, maybe the pitch wasn't as appealing to him, so maybe I didn't get the investment on there, and then maybe we wouldn't have got the further investment to buy Lancashire Hall, for example. You know, all these things are timing, so it's hard to relate it back to each one, but each part of that journey has been really important to us. And the funding side from Rosebud and the process through Rosebud was really eye-opening for me to see about my business and what I need to look at day to day.
And you talk about kind of the journey you've been on. It's been quite an intense few years. When you look at the next 2, 3, 4 years, it looks like it's going to be more of the same. Yeah,
every day, genuinely, although it is hard and it doesn't stop. You know, my day started at 4:45 this morning. And it's funny because I was going through with my missus before about, well, she's like, what have you been doing all day? I'm like, right, I've done this and this and this. And but it's always exciting and I love it. And this next part is just a different opportunity. So I've gone through different stages with this business, because at first it was me doing everything. I built all the units. I did all the cleaning. I did all the laundry. I met all the guests. Where we're at now, where it's more of a social media business, but as we expand, it's going into the kind of higher level corporate structure, which is just a new challenge, and it is exciting. If I was doing the same thing day to day, it'd be boring for me, and I have to fight. Get myself in trouble when I get bored. But I like having a new challenge every day, and this is what the next year, 2 years, and 3 years are going to look like for us as well.
Derry, it's always good to chat to you. Thank you for doing that. Let's have a round of applause for Derry Green.